Recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Fisher.
Present.
Briggs.
Here.
Cavalier.
Here.
Kressel.
Here.
Platt.
Here.
Menard.
Here.
Hibma. Here. Jurdy. Here.
Okay, it's time for the Crookston Forum. If anyone would like to address the council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda, may come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please. Hearing none from the chambers. Anybody on the phone bridge, Weston?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Agent logged up.
He just needs to sign off. Okay. Did you sign off, Weston? Yes. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one presentation tonight. It's a financial update from Clifton Larson Allen. Thank you for being here.
All right. Well, Council, good evening. Thank you very much for having me. I'm here from Clifton Larson Allen, or CLA, as you just noted, here to provide a fairly brief high-level financial update. As I know some of you are already pretty aware of that, we've started working a little bit more with the city, just helping catch up on some financial. So right now, it's more a little bit about an introduction about myself, CLA, for those of you who aren't as familiar with us, what we're starting to do with the city, and a little bit on the plan going forward. So I don't have a clicker, so if anyone can advance the slide. The next one, please. All right, so I just wanted to, further introduce myself, as well as my colleague who is not here tonight, Lance Lawinger. My name is Michelle Hoffman. I'm a CPA. I've been working with CLA for 16 years now. Spent a lot of those years doing audits of state and local governments, and in the last few years have switched over to doing more outsourcing consulting. So I've kind of been on both sides of it. I have been working with state and local governments in Minnesota that entire time. Very familiar with city government, city finances, county finances, school districts, anything in between. So definitely a lot of experience and very excited to be here. I'm gonna maybe flip forward. So just some overall update. I know a lot of this, you're already very aware of, but I just wanted to come here and give you a high level of where we're at, where we're seeing things, and where we're going forward. So we do have some ongoing work and challenges, of course. We're not just stepping in to fill a vacant role that just, became vacant yesterday and it's seamless and we're just picking up right where we left off. There were already some ongoing challenges, certainly the city was working on and catching up on finances. So I am stepping in as helping with more of the day-to-day tasks that come up in that finance director role, which is, of course, a position that is currently vacant and the city is looking to fill in the future. So anything that comes up that really that finance director role would have done, or just that the city needs assistance with due to some of the vacancies, given that is not the only role that is vacant at the time, I'm here to step in and help. I can do a lot of that remotely. I'm obviously here today. I was here a couple weeks ago, so I'm coming up here periodically as well, just to make sure I'm on site at times for those things that it is easier to be on site for. But as I did mention, there are a lot of areas that we are working on getting things not only caught up, but improved, more seamless, more efficient. So it again isn't just stepping in and just kind of keeping going with what was going before. So there is a little bit of extra challenge there. And as you can see, I've noted as well, part of that will be to really work with the city on anything we can do to make any sort of similar transition, including a potential new finance director, a lot more seamless in the future, whether that's really getting in line policies and procedures so that there's a resource there, and just also making those more efficient as there's potential software improvements, et cetera. So that is another thing we are working with the city on while we work on catching things up, how we can also improve those procedures in the future. And I just do want to emphasize, as I've kind of said already, that there is a little bit of catching up here. This isn't an immediate relief. The city finance team and really the city staff is still pretty strained, as I know you're pretty well aware. So we're all working together to keep catching things up, improving them, getting them into a place where we feel really good about it. So it's not an instant step in, it's going to happen tomorrow kind of thing. So I did just want to emphasize that as well. So if you want to please advance the slide again. Where is the slide deck? Not sure who's in control. As part of that, we are also helping the city with preparation for the annual financial statement audit. I know last year's audit was issued in the fall, and the city council is really hoping for that timeline to be improved. As you're well aware, the state does have a statutory deadline of June 30th for municipal audits. We weren't really formally brought on to actually completely help with audit prep until late March. So I just did want to lay out a little bit of this timeline. There was discussions about us assisting with pieces of it prior to that. But once the finance director role became vacant, it was really apparent that, the city staff was already had too much going on anyway and just really needed some assistance from us. So it's really only been a few weeks that we've been brought on or officially signed on to do full audit prep. And audit preparation for a city, you're not a really large city, but you have a lot going on. You're a moderate-sized city. A city this size with kind of the different things you have going on, it is really quite an endeavor to actually do audit prep. And part of the reason this year is, again, we are also working on really making sure that we feel good about everything up until this point. And so we're also having to work on some of that catch up in order to be able to fully prepare for the audit as well, because we are really wanting to make sure we feel good about everything at the end of 2023 as well as right now. So, I have a couple notes up there, some areas as well that are really things that don't often get tackled, and this is common until you get to the audit prep. So just trying to give a little bit of an idea of really how much is out there that does need to be worked on and reconciled in order to have an audit completed. And then if you want to advance the slide again. So just to go along with that, we have a laid out timeline right now. We have shared it with, city staff. They know what we're looking at for all the different audit areas and audit prep. Having all that completed, we are starting to get a couple areas done already, but when you look at the whole span timeline, it does go into mid to late May. Of course, anytime you reschedule an audit, which we have had to do because it was originally supposed to be for early April, we are also a little bit at the mercy of the audit firm. They had already had a lot of audits scheduled for April here, early May. So we've definitely been in discussions with them. They obviously know the situation. So the audit probably is not going to really be fully happening until late May, early June. And there again, I can only tell you what we can prepare. I'm at the mercy a little bit of the audit firm for the other side of it. But the idea is that the audit will then likely be issued in July or August with an extension given by the state. Going along with that, as I believe I've noted on here, we would plan to hopefully have some draft numbers, either fund level statements or even a draft full financial statement to you at that second June meeting. So even, hopefully much of the audit is completed at that point, or a lot of the work. But to really take an audit to the finish line, we're probably looking at July and August because of the timeline of not starting, being able to start audit prep until early April. So, we did want to really share that, make sure everyone's really aware of that, that we have a big hill to climb in front of us. And so I just do want to emphasize that, and absolutely open to any questions on any of this as I go along. Otherwise, I'm just about finished if there's one advance the slides. So the other thing I wanted to mention is we are putting together monthly financials so that you will have those starting next month. That's my understanding that, to this level of detail, you may not have always been receiving them in your packets. So the templates here are what we would prepare. And so we would have a budget to actual schedule in there, a little more detailed for the general fund, so you can see a little bit more what's going on. Both for the month as far as what the budget would look like for that month and what the activity is for the month, as well as year to date. And this is on a cash basis, just because everything, the way cities work, doesn't really get fully reconciled on a accrual basis, or modified accrual, I should say, until year end. But that's very common. That's it's basically going to align with your budget anyway. So this is the general fund side of things with the revenue. And if you want to advance the slide again, or receipts, I should say. General fund expenditures as well, where we're showing again some budget to actual. And then if you want to advance again, just the further examples, we would have also the enterprise funds there to show the budget to actual, and then all your major special revenue funds, which there's a handful of those as well. We would have total receipts, total disbursements here, budget to actual, And then I think there's one more slide with examples. And then as we go, we would have, and then your non-major funds, we would have combined into one, as that's how they're presented in the financials as well. So these would be something we are planning to prepare and present to you in your financial packet each month. Certainly have a discussion over it, answer any questions. So you can also feel good about, having a good updated financial position, report in front of you that you can ask some questions and feel comfortable with where the city is at with the finances at that point in the year. So does anyone have any questions for anything I said?
All right. Thank you for your time, Michelle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
And if you have anything follow-up as well, I'm happy to, answer any questions if you think of anything later. My contact information is certainly in there. I'm happy to certainly discuss or answer any questions. Otherwise, we're really excited to be working with the city, really hoping to move things forward and get everyone feeling really good and feeling seamless about the operations going forward. And I will say that, so far, like I mentioned, city staff, and has been strange certainly with some of the vacancies. And they're all working really hard in helping us get to this point as well. So, we couldn't just come in here and do it. Certainly, we have to do it with the city staff, and they've been great in helping us transition into this seamlessly as well. So it's a joint effort, and I think we're on a good path.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Okay, this brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to add anything to tonight's agenda?
Your Honor, if we could add item 8.05, a resolution regarding the hiring of an information technology IT director. I have updated the City of Crookston's website to reflect this request change.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Hibma, Jurdy.
Okay, motion carries. This brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
I had Don and Clayton, thank you. Roll call, please.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Hibma, Jurdy.
Motion carries. Okay, no public hearings. This brings us to the regular agenda. Ashley, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 8.01 is a resolution regarding a zoning change in the city of Crookston, Norcross subdivision parcel number 82.0297.8.00.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion.
Yes, this matter relates to a Norcross subdivision rezoning. The matter came before the Planning Commission, who reviewed the materials. The property owners were here and provided additional information. It's a zoning request to change the zone from residential to industrial to.
Thank you, Clayton. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion.
Having
Yes,
deja
this
vu.
matter relates to a Norcross subdivision rezoning. The matter came before the Planning Commission, who
It's
reviewed
just-
the
it's a
materials, property owner.
There you go.
The owners wish to tear down a home there. They also wish to be able to have
Thank you, Clayton.
a business shed there. Previously, it was residential too. They're asking to go to industrial. It comports with the other zoning in the area. The Planning Commission is recommending that this zoning change be approved.
Thank you. Further discussion. I would just like to say, I'm not familiar, this place is located next to, where Palmer Mason area has his shop up there on this kind of the southwest corner by,
It's between Minnesota and Carroll up there.
yeah, right. And there's a older house there that the owners are gonna take down. It's kind of an eyesore, so they're gonna improve the property and, I think better business for them to access, large semis or tractor trailers in, so.
They've had to do some work on the semis outside because they didn't have a large enough structure, and they're gonna construct a new one that'll allow them to do work on the inside.
So, further discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Fisher.
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Clot.
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Hibma. Aye. Jurdy.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.02 is a resolution regarding an application with respect to the Minnesota state-funded technical assistant grant related to the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Job Act, IIJA.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this
So
resolution?
move, Your Honor.
Got Don, is there a second?
Second.
Joe, thank you. Discussion.
What this involves is the federal government has recently allocated hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, for infrastructure to be replaced, analyzed, including weatherization, reduction of the carbon footprint. State of Minnesota recognized that this is going to take a bit of work, so they are allowing cities to apply for grants up to $30,000 to use in preparing applications, hiring people to prepare applications. And this is an application that will be prepared by Chuck, the Public Works Director, for the city to receive that $30,000. And as well, I believe the EDA is able to make a separate application. But this only relates to the city being authorized through Public Works Director Chuck to go ahead and make that application and hopefully receive the $30,000 to help us make the application to the federal government.
Thank you, Corky. Further discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Fisher.
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Clot.
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Hibma. Aye. Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.03 is a resolution regarding the rejection of bids relating to the T-hanger construction and a request for bids relating to the taxiing lane pavement and site grading work at the Crookston Municipal Airport.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to
So
approve this?
moved, Your Honor.
Got Tim, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Clayton. Discussion.
As you may recall, we've been working on preparing for construction plans for a T-hanger out the airport. We have a lot of interest, a lot of people who would like to place their airplanes at the airport. The bids went out, and the bids came in exceeding our financial ability by $1.2 million to construct that T-hanger. So our engineers, SEH, have recommended that we reject the bids for the T-hanger and all the work, but then rebid for the groundwork, the earthwork, and the taxiways to the site where another hangar could be built in the future. They think it's a good time to ask for those rebids. They also think that separating out the hangar construction from the earthwork and the pathway to the potential hangar site would allow us to receive better bids. The bids we received here were consistent with bids they've seen in other communities for this hangar.
Thank you. Further discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Fisher.
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Clot.
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Hibma.
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.04 is the discussion with Baker Tilly regarding the city administrator search and determination of the semifinalist.
All right, thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I'm really pleased to be back in front of you tonight to talk about your semifinalists. One of the things that I'm going to keep stressing during this time is you have to remember that we are not talking about candidates' names. We have to talk about their numbers. And the reason for that is they're not semifinalists yet until the council chooses who's going to be moving forward. Then from there, then I would contact each of the candidates that are going to be moving forward and making sure that they would like to participate in moving forward on the interview. And then from there, the names at that point become public, and we would provide the information to the city. If the paper or anybody would like that information, they can certainly get that from the city. What I asked, I did ask Tina to make copies. What I have is candidate evaluation forms that are going to be handed out. It has each of your names on it, and then the candidate 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. Now, we did have 29 candidates that or applicants that had applied for the position. From there, we had 3 withdrawal. And then through the process, we ended up vetting 10, and there were a couple that ended up withdrawing because they found another position, one of them, and the other one, their employer offered them more money to stay. So you had an opportunity to take a look at the candidates, and why I asked that if we can kind of go around and decide what your top 4, because then that way we can eliminate a few of them, and then we're not even going to need to discuss those. And if you're happy with the candidates moving forward, there might be a little bit of discussion. I did get a couple calls, so I do appreciate, there were some follow-up calls that I did receive just to answer some questions. Now, keep in mind that we're not done vetting candidates. So this is just the first stage. So what's going to happen is once you have identified who you want to bring forward, then what we will then do is do a deeper dive into their background, and also we'll be doing references on these candidates, and that information will come back to you. We will then have interviews. Depending on where they're coming from, we may want to consider doing Zoom interviews or Teams interviews the first round, because if there are some that have a lot of traveling, that could get pretty expensive, because it is usually the cities to get them here. So that is something that I would like to talk to you about, if that's the way you would like to do the first round, and then bring the top candidates in for the in-person interviews. So, Mayor, I don't have your names in alphabetical order. I just took it off of the website the way it was listed on there. So I'm not sure how you would want, which way you want to go. All I'm looking for is each of you to identify your top candidates by number, and then we will record them and see who's at the top, and see if there's some discussion on if we want to bring more or less forward.
So basically, depending on how many candidates we want to bring, it's got to be a consensus of everybody up here with the...
It's usually the top candidates. What I'm trying to make sure is that everybody has a candidate in there that they want to interview. So we want to make sure that that has been met, because we want to make sure that that is. What we're trying to do is if there's a way that we can eliminate a few, then we can have discussions on the ones that have met to the top of the list.
Patty, question. When I was reviewing the information, the candidate information, you provided this evaluation form, and it has qualifying factors that you identify, and you request that the person is qualified or not qualified. Mm-hmm. So, according to the information that I reviewed, the 8 candidates out of the pool of 29 have all met minimum qualifications, at least in my review process. So what further distinction can be made at this point? Is it possible that we want to do a Zoom interview with all 8 of these individuals?
That's a very good question, and I appreciate that question. What you have to look at is they become public, their names. And if I were to call them and say, there's 8 that are going to be coming forward, the likelihood of someone dropping out is very likely because you don't typically see all 8 going forward. And so that's why it's important to get each of you a voice in this to say, okay, what were your top ones? It might end up being 6 when we're done. But 8 is a little much. A lot of times we do want to go for, you don't want to do 3 because in case someone drops out, and that there's a likelihood that that could happen. So you want to have a good number to be able to compare your candidates. Now keep in mind too, you're looking at probably 2 interviews, one that's going to be Zoom and then of course one that's in person, to be able to get as much feedback from other departments. What we typically will do is we will have like the department heads that report to this person, they will interview also, and they will provide feedback to the council.
At this point, Patty, do you have feedback from the department heads? Have they had an opportunity to weigh in on the potential of these 8?
No.
Okay.
Because the reason for that is, number one, this information's confidential until you guys decide who to pick. And from there, then that's when we will provide an opportunity to get feedback from them.
Well, I'm just thinking that it would help me to have their feedback even at this phase of the process. Since the person and the skills sets that we're looking for are really highly touched by our staff. So
How do you want us to vote then, or what do we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or what?
Yeah, so you're not ranking them, okay? So don't say, here's my number 1, 2, 3, or 4 at this point. What you want to do is just tell me, Patty, I want number 2, 4, 6, 8,
Okay.
And then what we're all going to do is take a look to see which are the ones that are at the top, and then have a discussion. And say, for instance, you feel really strong about a candidate, and let's have that discussion. But the purpose is not to provide or to talk about candidates that will give away their location or who they are. So we need to be very, very careful on getting that information out.
And the numbers we would be giving, that's not ranking them.
Yeah, we're not ranking.
We're just giving a group of recommendations.
Yeah.
Okay, where'd you go?
Okay.
Ready to go?
And we're looking for top 4 or top 5.
It will probably get, when you look at it, you might want to have your number 5 right out there. Because if there is a tie or something, then that's when we're going to have that discussion. You could say, well, that was my number 5, and so I would like that person to consider maybe going forward. So I think that what we're trying to do is seeing if there is some kind of consensus on the top ones. And if we don't, maybe there's 1 or 2 of these that nobody picks, then that's going to be telling that those those are out, and then we're going to be probably interviewing the rest of them.
So should we just go around the horn and
Start over there and,
one and
Yeah, let's go.
say yes or no on,
You're ready.
Just give your top four.
yep.
yeah.
Remember, give it by number.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Want me to start it out?
Let's start at the end over there and let's go all the way around.
Let American start.
Starting with me? Okay, 1, 4, 5, and 6.
Just a second. You said 1, 4,
5 and 6.
5.
No, sorry, I'm gonna go with, I just say 4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Those are the three you wanted? Just three? Okay.
I'm sorry, Morgan, what was your numbers?
4, 5, and 6.
Okay,
So mine are 2, 4, 6, and 7.
You were 2, 4, 6, and 7.
Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 7.
Okay.
I've got 2, 4, 5, 8.
2, 4, 6, and 7.
2, 4, 6, and 7. Okay.
mine are, 1, 5, 6, and 8.
Don?
My turn? 1, 3, 5, 8.
One, 3, 5, and 8.
Correct.
Thank you.
Two, 4, 5, and 8.
2, 4, 5, and 8.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go 2, 3, 5, and 6.
2, 3, 5, and 6.
Two, 4, 6, 8. No. 2, 4, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Looks like there's 4 that have a total of 6.
So right now, the top candidates with 6 are number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 6. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Now, the next question is, we have to make sure that there's a top candidate, 1 or 2, and then there needs to be discussion if number 8 were to go forward. The reason for having an additional one is if someone were to back out, withdrawal from the process, having another one to interview is not a problem if we're going to be doing it by Zoom. If you're in agreement, but we need to make sure that,
Wait, why number 8? Because number 1 is also has 4.
no,
Oh, sorry, no.
2.
They're not.
Oh, you're right.
2,
I
4, 5,
counted.
6.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's right. You took that one out. Never mind. That would make sense then.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So of the 3 that have 6 votes each,
There's 4.
4 of them.
there are 4?
2,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6.
2,
So really, there's only, the next lowest one would be 8. So that could be possibly the 5th candidate if somebody pulls out, is that what we're thinking?
I would probably invite them for an interview. We had a situation just recently that we invited a candidate that was kind of like the alternate. It didn't go well. He felt, that person didn't feel like they were wanted to be there, so it was just really kind of uncomfortable, and I would suggest if we really feel strong and is to bring them in.
So are we just thinking that we're gonna pick 8 as the 5th then? Not as an alternative? Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
So, the 3 that wouldn't be going forward is number 1, number 3, and number 7. Does anybody have any issues not bringing those 3 forward? Does everybody have their top picks in here? Okay. So then what happens is, this evening, then what I would do then is contact each of the candidates. I've been in contact with these candidates, and then what we need to do then is decide when we want to do the interviews. Identify that so then we can get that set up and get that arranged. It's probably good that we do have a couple options. Having 5 in one night, of course, is way too much, so we would like to break it up. If there are a couple dates, that would work, and then what we would do then is arrange to get that set up.
Are you looking
And
for
then-
those dates today?
Now, what we can do is, I'll need your help. Do we send out a confirmation asking when they're available? Or how do you usually do that when you want to get dates?
I think we can do that through Tina.
Okay.
Send out dates to each of the candidates, give them a calendar and have them check a date that they'd be available.
But wouldn't we also want to identify the dates that we were first available to allow them to choose from?
Well, you can submit those also to Tina, and she can coordinate the calendars. When are you available and what times? Maybe different times for each of you. Let Tina know for the month of May, what dates you would be available and what times on those dates.
Is there a certain, like the first 2 weeks of May? What are we thinking here?
I would like to do it as quickly as possible, like
Okay.
within like the next couple of weeks. What's really, really important, you all have to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the most important decisions you have to make. So it's really important that we coordinate so that you're all here as part of the process. And then I'm assuming, can we do it from down here?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right.
Do we do this in the evening or the daytime, or what usually happens for that?
It's gonna vary depending on your schedules.
Right now.
So make sure you give Tina some variety, and then what she'll do is take a look at it. I'm gonna be accommodating, and I'm gonna make it work, so, because I wanna make sure that I'm here. And then we'll send it back as soon as you guys get that to Tina, then we can move fairly quickly on this. The last thing we want to do is we don't want to lose a candidate, and I do know that one of these candidates, number 8, is actually interviewing already. So, and is a little bit further along in the process than what we are right now, so just heads up on that. So the sooner the better.
So you're looking for the April 29th to the April 29th and the 6th or 13th?
Yeah, it's good if, after I tell them, you know, that they're gonna be moving forward, we usually will have that done within about 2 weeks, have that completed.
This is gonna be a set questions you put together that will be asked at this point during this Zoom, or?
So what I ask is, I will be sending out an email and asking you if there's any areas that you would like some interview questions for me to develop. A lot of these are going to be based off of the feedback that I received from council, from the leadership group. I'll be developing them, and then what I will then do is ask for feedback, if there's some that you would like, then send them out and see if you want any modifications or changes to them.
And at this point, as Tim brought forward, now our department heads can find out about who these people are and give us feedback to this point of maybe questions they have. Is that correct?
What's best is how to get their input is for them to be part of the process. So what I usually will typically do is then set up a separate, because theirs isn't going to be open to the public. So their interviews would be separate, and we would set that up with that team. Then what they would then do is provide you with feedback. They can't rank the candidates, but they can provide some feedback for you going into the final interview. And it also gets you a lot of feedback to start thinking about too.
So this is after this for the final interview.
This will be, we can have the leadership team do a Zoom with these candidates too, and provide you with feedback.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with that.
Yes.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay, so I guess moving forward, just so we're all clear, we're gonna provide Tina our availability from April 29th to May 10th. And what, by end of week? Does that sound,
As soon as possible, no later than the end of the week.
I just wanna make sure we have like a deadline so we all know what to do.
Well, I feel like if we're saying April, if we're gonna say the 29th, we need a like deadline of Wednesday, so we can
Yeah,
give that
to schedule.
availability
Yeah,
to them
I
to
agree.
schedule.
That's fine.
Can you all do it by Wednesday?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and daytime and evenings, correct?
So do we know how long each interview will, is there a set time?
Usually what we'll do is like a 45-minute, and then we'll have like a little break in there. But if you decide that you have to go over a little bit, because some city people are very talkative. And so they like to expand. So we will have a little bit of a cushion in there. So we're probably looking at 3 one night and then 2, or, you know, so then that way they don't all run together either for you.
And Patty, are you the moderator of the interview process?
Yep, I'll be here. And then what I will do is, a lot of times we'll discuss, do you want just one person to ask the questions? Or would you guys all like an opportunity to ask a question?
Oh, it's fine.
I guess I prefer that one person answers the questions. That way council can take notes on each candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. So then, to summarize, you will have your time, your availability time to Tina by Wednesday. I'll work with her, get some times on the calendar for the interviews. I will be preparing, I'll send you out an email asking if there's any areas that you would like me to draft interview questions. I will then draft the interview questions, send them back, see if there's any changes or modifications that you would like. I will also be working with Tina to set up the leadership piece of it for interviews. Again, those are not open to the public. And then what we do is we ask them after each of the interviews is to provide some information on what are the strengths of candidate one, and what are some concerns, and do you think they're going to be a great fit for the city? And then I'm gonna pull this information together, and you'll get a report showing all of their comments.
So you're looking at May 10th, right?
What was the question?
And May 10th, is that what you're talking, that week?
No, from the 29th to the 10th.
10th.
All the dates you're available
Right.
and what times.
Okay.
Yes.
I missed that, sorry.
Thank you.
10th of May, right?
Then in addition,
May 10th.
at this point is when you do your deeper dive in the vetting process. And will we have that information available for this aspect of the interview process? Or will that be for the final?
So
Yeah.
what we'll be doing is we'll do a deeper dive into asking for references, and then we do some other vetting of each of the candidates, and we typically would like to have them back. Once in a while, we might have someone on vacation, one of their key references. And so we want to make sure that we get all of their references in before we close that down, because that's really important. So what we'll be doing is getting that information. So I can say we hope to have that information for you. Our hope is.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Now, after tonight, what's the public process?
The public is, I will notify Tina tomorrow, letting her know these are the candidates that have been identified. I have reached out to them. They do want to move forward in the process, and let them know that their resume and cover letter will become public if anybody requests that information.
So if asked, can council members, myself, disclose who these 5 individuals are?
As soon as I notify them, then you can. I will put an email out to you saying all 5 have been identified and they are moving forward.
And then we can give the names and where they're
Absolutely.
from and that kind of thing.
Yes,
Good.
So you'll give us the go-ahead then, so.
correct.
Okay, just.
So they're still private right now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Until I notify them.
Until you notify us.
And then notify you, correct.
Don't forget. You can notify them all you want.
And I don't know what your practice is, but like if someone were to call me and said, could you let me know who, could I have copies? I always tell them, please go through the chain of command, which is the city. So contact the city for that information.
After you let us know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Item 8.05 is a resolution regarding the hiring of an information technology IT director.
thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Move, Your Honor.
I heard Tim first, Don second.
I can't even get a word in edgewise with you two.
Discussion, Porky, please.
Conducted interviews, made a recommendation. We've had somewhat of a convoluted negotiation process, but we were notified late today that the individual accepted. That's why it's an updated on your agendas. We're excited about him, and he's willing to start on April 29th, and that will dovetail nicely with when Zach is not back till May 15th. Weston is leaving for another engagement, and yes, he's accepted.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Hema,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Okay, motion carries. Reports, Corky, please.
As always, a busy 2 weeks. A number of park and rec discussions with Jake and Scott. The mayor was involved in one of those discussions, about just where we are at this point with respect to our baseball field, our sports complex, and Ray Eklund complex. A number of library discussions with the director, Chris Boyk. A summer events meeting with Shirley Iverson for DCDP. A number of campground discussions regarding the finances and the deadline and how we're progressing. We had weekly updates, in fact, now daily updates with CLA from Michelle and also Lance. We had a climate pollution reduction grant discussion. Also met with AE2S and coordination of discussions and how we transfer duties and obligations from WIDSEF. We also had the Planning Commission meeting, as you understood tonight. And then I attended a Ward 4 meeting at the request of Don, and we were here for about an hour and a half discussing issues in Ward 4.
Thank you, Corky. Chuck, anything to report?
All right, so we just finished up with spring cleanup. I don't have the final numbers as far as tonnage goes. We're around 36 tons for garbage and about 65.8 for bypass material. Around 29, 30 different appliances. One thing we did different this year, we came up with these flags to put out in people's yards. It states this refuse was not collected due to non-compliance with city refuse regulations, and then a spot for us to put a reason. It served two purposes. It let the homeowner know, hey, this is why we didn't take your garbage, or you let them know that we were there. I think last year I got a bunch of phone calls just wondering, hey, we have this garbage still sitting out here. Were you guys even down our street yet? Things like that. So that it reduced a lot of the phone calls, and I know Tina appreciated that. This week we start doing brush cleanup. I haven't had any issues there yet. I expect a couple phone calls like normal, and those should be fine. I've met with different residents, looking at sidewalk issues, curb, street issues, different discussions there. Those will all be ongoing. And that is it.
Thanks, Chuck.
Are you still doing tree removal?
Yep, the crews are still doing tree removal. They should be back at it after brush.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Darren, anything tonight?
Thank you. Just a little bit of recap from last week. Last Wednesday, Sergeant Hans and myself, Sergeant Hans received the State Life Saving Award at the Minnesota Chiefs of Police annual banquet. He received a medal and a plaque. There was approximately 400 in attendance. Super exciting, super humbling at the same time. So again, congratulations to Sergeant Heath Hansen. Also mentioned, we're currently being audited by the Minnesota BCA. It was a two-part audit. We successfully passed the first part of the audit. That was a review of how we access, store, and our policies and procedures related to how we use criminal justice information network. The second part, which is due in May, again, is an audit of our network securities that we have in place for accessing the criminal justice data network, working closely with IT, and with our current city IT infrastructure upgrades. I don't anticipate any problems with that, so hopefully we have that completed by the end of the week. And then, sad to report that Detective Ryan Brecken submitted his letter of resignation on April 12th. His last day will be this Friday. Him and his family have decided to move to another state. That's something that's been in the works for about a year. Ryan's been at the Crookston Police Department for about 6 years. He's done a phenomenal job over the years. I want to thank him for his years of service. He'll truly be missed. With that said, so obviously that creates a vacancy in the Crookston Police Department. However, I have a promising candidate with approximately 3 years of law enforcement experience that has already applied for that position, for a patrol officer position. We'll be conducting interviews this Wednesday, April 24th. That panel will consist of myself, Deputy Chief Nate Nelson, City Administrator Corky Reynolds, and Councilperson Clayton Briggs. So then next week I'll be opening an internal application process for the position of detective to replace Ryan Brecken. So hopefully we'll only be short-staffed for a very short period of time. That timeline will work really well with Officer Rascott, who you know is our school resource officer. He'll be coming out of the school in about a month. He'll be able to fill that patrol void vacancy while we promote somebody into the detective position while we're training the new officer. So it really shouldn't disrupt operations at all, hopefully, if it all works out as planned. So I'll keep you all updated with the status of our hiring and promotional process. So let's see everything for me.
Thanks, Darren.
All right, thank you.
Carrie, anything tonight?
Got my list here. Our storefront program is continuing. We were taking applications. We're about halfway through. We have 3 pending right now. We have 8 that are completed, 11 were approved. The 3 pending, we're just waiting till their work gets done. Want to remind people, we realized through our Thursday morning meetings that some people weren't applying because they don't own their buildings. So we've done some adjustments on that, and we'll be speaking with our board and also with Morgan. I think we left you a message. I know, right? But anyway, we'll be working on that and we're thankful for the feedback that's happening from the community, and especially our Thursday morning meetings when we do our Jolt and Jive at the youth center there. It's been really informative. We're getting a lot of good feedback, so we've been able to tighten up some of our processes. I too was able to attend the Ward 4 meeting with everybody, so that was a fun night, and thank you, Don, for hosting everybody on that. I think it was a really informative meeting, and hopefully we can continue to move forward with what we heard from your people that night. Our Small Cities Development Grant for $1.2 million has been fully submitted, so good job to Kayla Hansen on that. And we will hear early midsummer if we were awarded the $1.2 million, which will go to Ward 4 to update commercial apartments and then also for private houses. Empower Crookston, we're still with the I Love Crookston, Empower Crookston. We've got a lot of projects going on there. The team continues to meet weekly with projects in progress as well as to discuss future opportunities. We're meeting on the Thursday mornings. Like I said, everybody's welcome to join us at the Cove, 8 o'clock. But we're going to start doing pop-up tents at different public meetings and stuff so we can get more feedback from like people at the Splash Park, or we're looking at doing some community picnics as we go on through the summer here, just to get out there and do some hot dogs in the parks and hear from the community. And we've got we're starting to get some really good projects put together, but the most important thing that we're looking at is to find a good project, but then to also find the funding for it so that we can carry these things through. We're not just looking for ideas, we're looking for ideas that can be funded. Our local climate action grant, we're finishing that up, working on that. That'll be about $50,000, I believe, to build capacity to help us to let the communities know that we're going to be doing energy audits through wards 1, 4, and 5, and then we'll expand to the other wards as we get going with that. Otter Tail Power is going to be adding on an energy auditor, which is a big deal because there really aren't any in our area right now. So that continues to move forward, and that will help us to get ready for that $4 million MPCA grant that we're hoping will get awarded here probably in September, October this year. We'll hear about it. The money won't come till next year. Empowering Small Minnesota Cities Communities, the Design Center. Again, we continue to meet. Mary Vogel from the Design Center was able to get us together with Micah Intermill, Minnesota Department of Management and Budget. That doesn't sound like we would know him. However, I was able to hook up with AE2S and one of their folks as well. Micah is new. He's been there about 6 months, and he is the networking and handling the IIJA funds that Corky alluded to. So we were able to meet with him and really get some ideas of what he's looking to see. And then there's some projects that funding won't cover, but he's familiar with the other departments. So if, we'll be able to network with different types of grants to get some of these projects done. Some of the projects we're looking at, of course, is the Highway 2 Corridor project. Also, as we get the assessments back on our roads, some of them will be able to qualify for those funds. So we'll be looking for that. And then lastly, there will be state matching grants. The Minnesota has put away funds to match the IIJA funds on the federal level. So there's going to be a lot of funding out there. So when you hear us coming with some huge projects, know also that we're in the background working to try to find the matching grants for that too, so we don't put another burden on our taxpayers. But we all want our streets fixed, and I've heard that quite a few times. Lastly, we're working on a Habitat Enhancement Landscape Program grant. It goes up to $500,000. And we're working on that. We met with Jake and Scott Budd today to talk about different areas in our city that we can develop the landscaping. Like right now, we mow about 400 acres. But there's a lot of areas where the guys have a hard time getting into parks and along the river and that type of thing. So if we can get some natural landscaping in there, it's going to look beautiful. It'll look like a bunch of wildflowers, and the guys aren't going to have to go in there to get in there to mow those. So we're just getting going on that project. And I believe that's probably the last project I have going. Any questions on any of that?
Will we be submitting an IIJA grant proposal through the EDA?
Yes, we will. I have that on your agenda for next Tuesday. Yep, Tim. And then we're going to get the biggest projects we can to get all the money we can from the federal and state government for Crookston. Anything else?
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, thanks
Gary.
guys.
Greg, anything? No report today. Thank you. Brandon? No report. Thank you. Shane?
Couple things from the last couple of weeks. Down at the station, we're servicing all of our equipment, wildland, the boat, our mowers, just getting everything ready for the season. Working with a couple citizens on some property complaints, and if the weather turns nice, that's usually when they show up. Since we met last, we have had a structure fire. We responded to an accident with a car versus a train, and we've had a fair sprinkling of grass fires. So last one that we had actually was last evening, and in this area, we're just really lucky to have the mutual aid agreements and the departments that we have around us. We had Red Lake Falls, Warren, and Fish and Wildlife Services came out and helped. That contained that fire last night that could have turned into something major. So it's really nice to be able to work with those departments. So reaching out and thanking them for their response. Our new firefighter Caleb started today. So I want to thank Tina, Kathy, Weston, and anybody else that was helping get him through this process. And like I said, today was day one, so we had a lot of paperwork and everything else to get over, but he did get to respond to one alarm, so we thought that was pretty cool. So we'll see what we go as we work with him getting online and trying to get him up to snuff here as quick as we can. We do have other applicants turning in resumes at this point in time, so we will be working to get that 6th firefighter position filled. So that's a little positive outlook. Last week attended a HSEM Region 3 meeting that was held here in town, discussing some of the future plans for emergency management as a whole, and working with Jody Bouchane on a couple upcoming exercises that we're going to have, most of them tabletop, but still going to be beneficial for the area. We worked with UMC, their CAs, working on fire drills in the residence halls, and that went pretty well, gave them a little bit of feedback, so sounds like we're going to get a little bit more interactive out there, focusing on student safety. I am currently reviewing siren activation procedures. Talked with one of the council members when we had that tornado drill, and questions being posed, a couple things that we're going to probably advance in our plan, make sure we do get that information out to the public in a timely fashion, just to make sure we can kind of catch everybody who maybe didn't catch that right away. So I do want to thank KROX also for being able to get a lot of that information when we had Severe Weather Awareness Week. They did a very good job of getting some information out for us. Last thing I want to talk about is just to remind you guys that Wednesday evening, we are having CERT training down at the fire station at 7 p.m. I got to thank Garrett Bankston for taking on that leadership role with that program. He has put a lot of time and a lot of effort into getting this up to snuff. So it's going to be a lot of information that comes out on Wednesday night as we try to revamp and kind of reshape the scope of how CERT itself works in Crookston. So I want to thank him for that. That's what I got.
Can you explain a little bit for the newer council members what CERT training is and who probably should be at that training?
Okay, CERT is Community Emergency Response Teams. The way that it's been since its inception is every ward has its own command post. I don't know if you guys remember last year, we started to pair them up just to try to get a little bit more activity, a little bit more engagement and involvement. So like wards 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 are gonna work together. It's also gonna allow us to have that adaptability where if something does happen, let's say in 3, well, we can use 4 as a command post, but we can still focus on what happened in 3 if there's a danger like that. And essentially what I look for from council is gonna be some leadership. If we do have anything major that comes in, I mean, you guys are the decision makers. I'm gonna be coming to you, questions, things like that, get my guidance from you. At the same point in time, I'd want you guys, don't want to overspeak here for Garrett, but want to make sure that we guys have you at your command posts. We got to have the leadership in place at these command posts to be able, because anytime we have any type of an incident, we get that major influx of volunteers. Well, we got to be able to coordinate that, and that's where we're really gonna need you guys. I don't need somebody out throwing sandbags. I need a council person to be at that command post. I don't need a mayor out throwing sandbags. I need people at the command post to be able to do their thing. And then at that point in time, we can use that type of information, bring that back to the Emergency Operations Center, and that's gonna help us as we dictate ourselves through an event.
I would say probably the most common for those who are newer to this is the flooding. We got really lucky this year, but in the past couple of years, like Ward 1, Ward 4, what other ones?
5.
And 5 have all been, that's been activated, and then we've been at those posts and have helped walk dikes, or we've helped manage just who's going to be out doing that, checking water levels and things like that. So if you hadn't had that opportunity yet, it's a really important training, and also for those who are supporting those groups too. So just as an FYI.
Well, does the training also address other emergency systems in place for tornadoes and?
That's the whole reason that CERT is here. And because when we do get something like that, because it's an all hazards plan.
Yeah.
Obviously in Crookston, it was, when it was started and the way that it really gained traction, obviously it was high water. Floods, we were very prone to that. Now we're at that point in time, even with the levees, everybody kind of thinks, oh, okay, we're protected. We still have to monitor those levees. There's no guarantee that they're gonna hold up, so that's why there's still an importance there. But it does encompass, even if we had a snowstorm that came through and we had a major ice storm and we started having power knocked out through town, we gotta be able to get people that we can rely on. You could take 30 guys at the fire department, we're spread too thin right away. So that's why we count on the CERT teams to be able to help us, especially when we reach out to ask for volunteers. You'll get people to come out and help. We just need people that can help organize that, so.
And technically, as part of our positions as elected leaders, that's our responsibility, is to be those captains for those emergency teams. So.
And when do you anticipate having that training?
Wednesday night at 7 p.m. at the fire station.
In 2 days?
Yes.
Okay.
If you didn't get a phone call, it's probably because we didn't update one of our binders being at large.
I was gonna say I did not receive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
me
thinking that when he said
either.
that, I thought, oh, I bet Morgan didn't get a phone call either.
I didn't get a phone call.
I didn't get a phone call.
I don't think anyone got one.
got a phone call. I got one.
Let's,
Well,
Many.
I'm gonna ask if you put it on your radars. I know it's only in 2 days, but it is important, so.
So that's 7 p.m. at the fire hall?
At the fire hall.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the short notice anyway.
Do I need cookies or
Yes, and
donuts or
coffee.
what do we?
I'm
for
just
sure.
there for the cookies, so.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thanks. I guess Jake isn't here, but he's on Zoom, so he's gonna give a little report.
Hello, can you hear me all?
No, not really.
No.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Better.
All right, perfect. Last couple weeks, Corky kind of hit it on the head here. Numerous meetings with all these projects going on. I put in a locate for some trenching for some hard wire and electric for score boxes out at the Ray Eklund complex. I will be putting in another locate for the concrete project on Diamond 1. We will be starting the Karn project here with storage probably in the next week or two. The campground, I have an update on that. We are finished with all the concrete and the plumbing. So everything we had to do for the building to be set, we are done with. That building is coming the week of June 3rd. So they will come in and they'll set the building. It's going to take about a day and a half for the Huff Cut company from start to finish. So they should be done roughly June 4th, depending on if they start June 3rd or not. They are coming from Chippewa Falls, so I'm not sure how long of a drive it's going to be, but they're going to leave on the 3rd and they're going to start the project when they get to Crookston. I do not know yet when we will be seeding, but I was told by Rich Clausen that as soon as the pavement is done, that's when he thinks they're going to start seeding. The pavement, they're going to come in June 5th, and they're going to just make sure the roads are good. They'll probably level them off some more with graders, and then June 6th, they should be starting that project. So it's looking like we're going to meet our timeline at the campground. Obviously, weather pending, but it looks like we're going to finish and we're going to get things ready to go and done. So we are still in the process of registration. Currently, everything is open. We're going to be open till May 10th, I believe, is the cutoff date. And then it'll be a $50 late fee for anything after that. There was an event this weekend, Saturday. The ladies out at the pool, they had a pool-a-thon. I don't have a lot of answers for you, but I did hear it was a success. There was quite a few people that showed up, and a lot of pictures and things got posted on Facebook. So I'm not exactly sure how much money they raised, but I will find out, and I will let you know at next meeting. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Can I ask, Jake, who's responsible for updating the active.net website?
We are working on that right now. We have to call ActiveNet to get that updated.
Okay, because
yeah,
I just
we have
wanted
been-
to bring it to your attention, when you go to search activities and go by youth, it's only
Yep.
tagging 6 of the sessions when it's significantly more. And so I just want to make sure that you're aware that like Club Kid and those things aren't coming up under that. And so
Okay.
if you want to just
Yeah,
verify the tagging on that, that might be helpful for people trying to navigate that piece.
We have been in contact with ActiveNet to help us get that fixed. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Tim, anything?
Good yontif for all those who observe a Passover. I have nothing else to report.
Thank you. Delane?
Just wondering if we're gonna get regular updates from our marketing person eventually.
Yes.
Should.
Okay.
Kean, is he here?
Yeah.
You want to come up and answer his question, or?
I don't have any questions, I'm just wondering
Wondering updates?
updates on what they're working on and things like that.
Okay, so we,
That's my call. I got you.
Let's see here. Don't have a ton to report on tonight, but just what I'm currently working on is making some updates to the City of Crookston website, mainly to make information more accessible to new users or new individuals that go to the website, but then also just updating the overall look of it. So, for example, we put in a city and community calendar and then updated the city news section over there to make it easier to access. Working more on staying regular on all of our social media accounts. So I've been taking care of things like creating graphics and making it more, or not easier to see, but just making it a little bit more creative with the information that we relay. Speaking of social media, Chuck wanted me to mention, he forgot to mention earlier, but we did post a snow removal survey about last week across all social media platforms, but it's also under the city news page as well. Just I believe it's about a 12, 13 question survey, just basically going over with the residents things that they like and didn't like about last year's snow removal process and areas of improvement. And that's all I got to report.
Awesome, thank you.
thank you.
Can I ask, are you doing like a full audit of the website just to make sure like all the pages are up to date?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is a process that I'm going through right now, and there is a lot that needs to be looked over, but it is something that I'm actively working on.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So should we add key into the reports?
Yes,
Future?
please.
That'll work. Thanks. Anything else, Delane?
Oh, that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
I just want to thank the city for the cleanup. They did an excellent job. They were in and out of my neighborhood. You didn't even know they were there. Everything was cleaned up. So just tell all the guys, good job, and it looked good when they were done, and it was a very quick process. And on our street, there was quite a bit of stuff, so I was kind of surprised. I had seen them there, and I went to look. Next time, they're gone. So, yep, no, good job on that, and that's about all I have to report.
Your stuff was gone.
Thank you. Don, anything?
Yes, I want to thank Corky and Dale and Carrie for attending our Ward 4 meeting the other night. We didn't have a huge crowd, but we had a good discussion about certain things. We also, because of the COVID, this is the first time we've met, and we got a chair and a vice chair and a secretary nominated for Ward 4, so we're going to continue on meeting probably once a month if we get everybody on board. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Clayton?
Well, first off, I'd like to congratulate Sergeant Heath Hansen. It's always nice to receive an award that is presented by the state. So, Darren, if you will congratulate him from me and the council. And also, as far as spring cleanup, it went quick. I didn't see the mattresses on ash there for a week. They are gone pretty quick. And also, the city's looking really good with the street sweeper out and about. It really makes the town look nice. Got cleaned up really quick, and so appreciate the guys doing what they're doing.
Thanks, Clayton. Henry, anything?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Christie?
This month, the CVB didn't meet, so there's nothing to report there. The DCDP had their last Broadway at the Grand last week, and I was there to host. It was Into the Woods. They had a really good turnout, and yeah, that's all I would report.
Thank you. Morgan, anything?
Nothing to report on my end.
Thank you. Just a couple things. I attended the planning meeting the other night, and Don, thanks for your Ward 4 with Carrie was there and Corky. Thank you. Also, Corky and I met with Jake and Scott, just seeing what's going on with the arena and the campground, see where the process or the progress was. Also, was it a week ago, attended a luncheon for the interim, can't think of the gentleman's name, he's president of the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities campus was up here. Was very educational, felt out of place in a way, but it was fun. Just a reminder, we have and Michelle, thank you for everything you're doing. So nothing else no ways and means, so nothing else come before council tonight. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.